contradiction. When the people of Israel fulfill the will of Hashem, then the grain belongs to them. Then we say that the grain belongs to Hashem. And Rashi's comment is, this man she'osim v'tzono, grain belongs to them, and then to take it from them, umareh lahem shusha, when we show to the people of Israel, the grain belongs to him, and he might bring a drought. There'll be nothing left for you. Then we have this faith that follows the Brisa, connected with this. We have pasuk v'ramush sefer Torah ze mipicha v'gidrim u'layla. We know there's a mitzvah in the Chumash. We've got to learn Torah, we've got to learn. And the extent of this mitzvah is described in the book of Yeshua. It says the Sefer Torah should not depart from your mouth at all. It means you're all going to speak Torah, think Torah. I might have thought that's got to be taken literally. So you learn Torah and leave everything else to Hashem. No, you have to gather in your brain. Shmuel says, together with your learning Torah, you should add to it also the way of the world to earn your livelihood. Which one could explain to me that you're allowed to earn your livelihood in every way, but in your mind you should always have the Torah. So therefore you won't break your links with the Torah. But still you're permitted to do other things as well, to your panasah. So, Shimon Yochai Omer, יש לו ריש בשעת זה, בשעת זה, יוצא בשעת תירה, ותוש בשעת תשעה. וזורע בשעת הרוח. Torah מה תעלה? Well, that's really going to be possible for a person to learn when he's busy plowing and sowing, harvesting and threshing, and winnowing, or whatever other work. That's the Torah. Rashi says, let's go back to Rashi. He shouldn't bother himself with earning a livelihood. So say, with the Divrei Torah, you can do work as well. You know, there's a famous kasha, I'm sure we discussed it. If you say Berachot Torah in the morning, you don't say it all day. And that's the question, what's the difference in that and Sukkah? If you go to the Sukkah in the morning, you say Leisha B'Sukkah. You go to Tiyub, you go to learn somewhere else. When you come back to eat, you say it again. What's the difference? Why by Torah do we say once it's good enough? Even if you go to business, you go to learn somewhere else. It's good enough. What's the answer?
It's got to be in you all the time.
Yeah. So, but if you combine it with something that said last of the Torah means to be busy in your mind with matters of Torah. If you take it a step further, like Rav Hirsch does, he says that whatever you're busy with in other activities, you should always try to keep in mind what the Torah wants me to do as far as the business is concerned. A lot of Torah deals with how to deal with business, how to do shopping, how to speak to people, maybe how to work with different social groups. So Torah gives you directives at all times. So it says, Hakita bo yom ha'malayla. Hakita means to meditate. It's also the root for the hege. What's a hege in modern Hebrew?
Steering wheel.
Steering wheel.
Oh.
You should never drift through life, even into the rat race of big business. You also got to be steered in the right direction by the Torah. The more complex the business, the companies, the more you've got to always steer. Don't go to the right nor the left, don't go in all directions. You have to deal with, these days, with mass media, which are not important, so you've got to steer between them. Keep away from the obstacles of the Torah. Is this hit out in Torah? And Rashi said, "Hinaeg behender individual." And why do you have to? Why Rashi gives a reason. Shem tavor lidei Torah chabriot sofra lipatendu. But if you're going to say, "I'm going to learn," then you have no livelihood. You never learned any profession. Then you have to go and depend on other people, ask them to support you, which you shouldn't do. You shouldn't have to come onto begging and asking other people to support you. That's the shitta of Shmuel. But Shimon Choy says, if it's like you, Rabbi Shmuel, if she can what are they going to do? What happened to the children? And his man, she swear, wasn't some Shemakom. Malach Nasser Techir. She never two Zarim, which others will come. And they'll do all the work for you. That's if you fulfill the will of Hashem. And she ain't no single Shemakom, Malach Nasser. If you don't fulfill the will of Hashem completely, then the work is done by the they have to do the work. No other way. Others will do the work for you. It said, Lord, not that we've done the will of Hashem, not only Melechet Achrin Nasser Tanshin, but also Elecha. So it will you'll have to do the work. You'll have to work for your enemies. Your work, whatever you do, will go to the enemies. If you don't fulfill the will of Hashem, like in this famous episode, the Prophet Chaim, a rich man came to him, or he came to a rich man at a huge factory, also wants to help for the yeshiva, and he did help a bit, but it was the factory was Chol Shabbos. So he said to this person, he said, you have to stop working on Shabbos in order your business should flourish. Because if not, your business might collapse. So he said, no, who says it's going to happen to me? Beginning of the Bolshevik Revolution. So he said to the Chofetz Chaim, now I've got a company, so many people employed, and millions every year. Who says, but if I stop it on Shabbos, then my business finished. Like that happens today. People say that I care for Israel. If you're going to work on Shabbos to increase the railway system, so it'll all collapse. What happened? You know what happened? It accepts the lesson. What happened was, it's true, for one Shabbos, I think they stopped doing work to continue the railway line between Tel Aviv and Haifa. Yeah. So, what happened the week after? The 1 week they were Mechallah, they desecrated the Shabbos. 1 week they desecrated it, next week the political ways, they managed to get them to stop it. But the week after, it's 2 weeks after Chilul Shabbos, they made a shmita there was a shmita now of the railway. Shmita of the whole railway system, which is bringing a much huger loss. For the whole week, I think, they do shmita. The whole week they do shmita. The same thing happened with El Al. El Al was having constant shmitot and a huge deficit. The deficit was increasing. The begging government, they changed it. They said we're going to Shomer Shabbos. They kept the Shabbos, and they no longer had the deficit. No, there were no more shmitot in the week. So that's right. So in any case, the conclusion of the Gemara is that Abai said many did like Rabbi Shmuel and they were successful. That means they worked and they combined their work with their learning. Learning while they were earning. Two together. And it worked. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, but they did like Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, because the servant says they weren't on the level of Shimon ben Yochai. He could do it. But no, he was able for 13 years to be in a cave and have nothing at all. He wasn't a very high Madrega, so he could do it. But it's not for the public. It didn't work. Laws of your. So, I'm going to, this, obviously you dealt with a lot of kashas here. I'm going to ask you a very, very important kasha, and because it all has to do also with how we have to decide halacha. What is the, if one understands one Gemara, but look at what it says elsewhere. I don't know if this question came up. If it came up, you can give me answers that you heard. There's a Sefer made in Menachos. There was first of all Doma, who asked Rabbi Yochanan or Shimon ben Yochai, asked him Shimon ben Yochai, I've learned the whole Torah. I've gone to learn the Torah, I know it, you test me. Test me, Shabbat and possible. I've learned it all. May I now study Greek philosophy? Because I know there's a lot of wisdom there. As I'll say that Chochmah goyim tamen, and the Chochmah. So Shimon ben Yochai says there that if you can find, said the same posture as here, if you can find any time that's not day and not night, so if we give you've got to meditate in the Torah by day and by night. And so can I go and learn? Chochmah said no. Because if you can find a time that's not day or night, it would be permissible. So if you can't find it, it's forbidden. Then Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai goes to the question, well, how does a person fulfill this pasuk? And he says that, let's say a person is busy with a derech eretz, it's got a work all day or something, then the din is, we give the Gemara from Yosef by saying Kriyat Shema in the morning, Kriyat Shema in the evening, that's your Mom day and night. You fulfilled your duty. So it's a direct contradiction to here. How could Rabbi Shmuel have such extreme opinions? Dealt with that question?
Being the same rabbi, Rabbi Shmuel ben Yochai?
Being the same Rabbi Shmuel ben Yochai. I'll quote you more directly. Shimon says, "Afilu lo kara adam el kriyat shema shach v'aved kim lo yamush." Lo yamush, you fulfilled this pasuk, even if you just read kriyat shema morning and evening, the same Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. That says, you shouldn't say it in front of Amaretz. And Amaretz will say, well, I rely on it. Well, it's going too far, it's got to fulfill Torah. What he meant was that if you're so busy with Panaseh, you've got no choice, the duty you fulfill. And even there's now, so even the same with Shimon ben Yochai. No, I'm sorry. Shimon ben Yochai said, I didn't say it correctly. Shimon ben Yochai says, even when it Kriyat Shema early morning and evening for this duty, you mustn't say it in front of Amaretz. Then came Ben Domo, who was the nephew of Rabbi Shmuel. Same Rabbi Shmuel. And he said to him, hi, you've learned the old Torah. May I learn Greek wisdom? So Rabbi Shmuel said, no, lo yomosh. Say what you say what go and find a time that's not night and not day, and then you can look off my voice. So you have a reverse position, a double reverse position. In the Gemara in Menachos, is Rabbi Shimon is very lenient.
Yeah.
He said you will fulfill your duty just by saying Shema. That's also in the Torah. And Rabbi Shmuel implies the opposite. Rabbi Shmuel answered his nephew, said, if you've learned the Torah, you're not allowed afterwards to learn Greek wisdom. Why not? After all, he can be Yoitze. He can be Yoitze with Shema. Otherwise, the two Gemaras contradict one another. In both opinions.
Which daf is that in Menuchos?
Daf Tzadi Tet Amud Bet, 99b. You didn't discuss it?
We didn't.
Or perhaps you found an answer? Yeah?
Rabbi Mansur brings a Hida, and he says that there is an acronym, and we suppose that it is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, but it's actually Rabbi Shimon ben Yoed or something.
Somebody else?
Someone, yes. So then we don't have any problem with it. But there are other answers, if I understood correctly. Even Rav Hida brings other answers.
So I'll give you a few answers. That Natan says that everyone agrees that the simple meaning of the verse is to study Torah all day and all night. But in our Gemara is speaking about plowing and sowing, where the Torah revealed Vasafta Ganecha, since you have to do it, it's and that's what he's talking about in our Gemara, about plowing. But the Gemara Menova speaks about a person who wants to learn Greek wisdom. As far as that's concerned, that's forbidden. But that will have to, I'll give a bit of an answer to Rabbi Shmuel. Wisdom is something else. It's an alien teaching. But Rabbi Shimon is difficult. So the Imanovas, Rabbi Shimon speaks about a situation where Israel are not fulfilling the will of Hashem. And therefore there's no promise that the fields will be looked after by strangers. Therefore we have to do work ourselves. Therefore, such a time, one can be fulfilled the Jew, the Yomush, at his minimum level. But the Menachos speak about a case where they fulfill the will of Hashem. And then you say it means all day and all night. Now I'll give you the answer of Moshe Feinstein. He deals with these questions at length. Rabbi Shmuel knows there's no difference between Talmid Chacham and other people. All have to learn all day, except what is essential for their livelihood. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says there's a difference. Ordinary people can fulfill the Yamush if they're too busy with Parnassah, will run better. That's what we're talking about in Menachot. But Talmid Chachamim, they have to, on a high level, and learn Torah by day and by night. That's the Shitta of Shimon Yochai. I think it's also into that in the Gemara in Shabbos, page 33, which deals with the biography of what happened to Shimon Yochai and his son. They were in a cave for 12 years. And when they came out, they saw people busy with agricultural work. Hashem looked at them, and they became a heap of bones. So Hashem revealed to them through a heavenly voice, go back into the cave. I didn't let you out, you destroy the world. So when they came out after the extra year, and then Shimon Yochai did something different. He recognized that his stage came to fasting. So the level of living was beyond the level of ordinary people. You saw people taking their branches, you know, to have a pleasant, fragrant tree, herbs for Shabbos. In fact, he asked them, what are you bringing, what are you doing with this? Why engage in such work to bring yourself these plants? So he said, it's for the Kohen of Shabbos. So he recognized, at that moment he recognized that he's got to strain himself to look at all other people in a kind way. And after the more describes, I made various tikkunim, even on the ground, to help different aspects of helping those Jews who were working. So he recognized that his madrega was not for everybody else, like also Pai says. So that's one question. So now there's deeper questions. I mean, if you go, and why do I want to put this? I'll tell you now why I'm putting this on YouTube. There have been many different booklets and so on produced about the subject of working and learning according to the Torah. And we had the great foot last week of having a Sefer Torah by Cheskel Fogel. Cheskel Fogel has for many years been the leader and the driving force to provide occupation for people in Koilalim. Because the direction of Koilalim is to get a stipend. Generally they get very little. Now some Koilalim pay more, most they pay very little. Some of the Koilalim, they do train people to become Rabbonim, Dayanim, Shoftim and so on. But the vast majority of people in Koilalim, as they're spreading far and wide, are just to live with a minimum income. Some with larger families, they live near to starvation, but they dedicate the night and day to learning Torah. It's not suited for everyone, and also there are many to whom it's entirely unsuitable. Carry on too long for the families, but there are very many, growing the numbers, that are following this path. What is it doing? Certainly increasing the volume of learning Torah. And also, many of those also engage part-time, being kind of others teaching those who don't yet know Torah. So it's got its very positive points. On the other hand, many of them, especially when the families grow, they come to a difficult point. And then he is the one to provide courses, and also is ready. These courses are open to married Koilalim members, sometimes with a stipend, frequently not having to pay for the courses, supported, so that afterwards they can have a good earning profession, which will be enough for their family. Otherwise they're following the Shitta of Rabbi Shmuel instead of Shimon Yochai. But the one who's put into practice and made it available is this Rav Vogel, and he issued a sefer gave me a few days ago, which is the most comprehensive anthology of all the sources for these difficult questions. So I'd like to just bring a couple of the sources that he develops. It doesn't do its own opinion, but the opinion of many of the greatest Gedolim, and also those who encourage special people on a high level to try and fulfill, according to our generation, the madrega of Rabbi Shimon Yochai. But they all say they're few and far in between. We do know that some of the greatest Gedolim is that they followed. But generally speaking, they took on certain criteria, which we discussed with them, of being supported by the community. I mean, one of the two great Gedolim of recent times, referred to. One is Chazon Ish, who I think he was given, he dedicated all his time to learning Torah, which he also included learning other sciences that had connection with Torah. And Rambam says, Berachot Kiddush HaChodesh, astronomical laws of the Torah. For that, since we've lost the ancient sciences, which were known to the greatest scholars amongst the Jewish people, therefore he made use also of the astronomy from his days, which you know, even though going to the same, he even asked someone, please translate Euclid into Hebrew for him, because he needed it to understand mathematics of the Torah. And the same as Chazon Ish should see his mathematical designs and combinations in his Sefer Torah. He was also a great expert in medical things. So all these things, these were scholars who gained a little bit of support from the person who Hashem was supposed to be close to, Rabbi Yashet and so on. So he was times a dying in the best in, so that he had a pension, so to see. He was ready to take over positions which were paid publicly. Now, he brings here, I'll just bring a few interesting aspects where he brings this. The source of this whole matter is the tribe of Levi. The Rambam was very particular. He said, the person should not have financial, material benefit from teaching Torah. What you can do, if you've got some friend or relative, and you put him on top of the money that you've got to get from, put in investment. So you can invest it with him if you want to have more time for your own learning. And that's actually what happened to Rambam himself. The Rambam himself, he had a younger brother who was also his Talmud. Rambam was such a genius. His brother was not quite that level. And his brother was a jewel merchant, and he was a partner with him. He gave him an investment, and his brother once said, "I want to support you. You should be able to have your mind free just for learning." Neither the Rambam, when he saw it was a bit difficult, he started learning a bit whatever he could concerning medicine. By the way, he was free to learn. He even describes. When unfortunately his brother died, it was a great tragedy. But now he felt he's got to earn money from other sources. He didn't want to take much from the community. That's why he accepted to become the doctor of the Sultan. He was known as the best doctor in his time. So Richard the Lionheart, at the same time, he wasn't to England. The British Jew was a very different situation. But I went to Cairo. Anyway, but the Rambam says you shouldn't, if possible, not take any. There's certain exceptions how you can do it. But he nevertheless says, at the end of the laws of Schmidt and Yoel, the Rambam says, any human being who says, I want to serve Hashem, I don't want to deal with materialistic life, and he dedicates his whole life to become greater in knowledge, and he applies it not just to the Jew, also to the non-Jew. It's very significant. Because it said non-Jew who busies himself with the Torah, the Gemara says, he can be on the same level as the high priest. In other words, even as a non-Jew, you want to learn the Sheva Mitzvahs thoroughly, and the other things that the non-Jews permitted to learn on a deep level. Hashem says, I'm going to treat him like I speak about the Levian. Hashem said, Levian, you didn't send the protocol. You're still a spiritual madrega that you can look aside from material needs. And you can overcome material needs and dedicate yourself to the service of Hashem. And also bring others to it. He will be the Holy of Holies, and I will supply you whatever you need, Hashem promises. I'll find a way whereby you'll be able to survive and fulfill your task in the world. So to bless every person. And that's really the basis. They say the Kohenim today have this basis of following the path of the Nevi'im. So now I'll give you a very beautiful interpretation. The Netziv, he was the Rosh Yeshiva of I would say, the highest level yeshiva which has ever existed amongst Jewish people since the time of the Talmud Bavli Yerushalmi. And that's the yeshiva of Rosh at the Talmud of Vilna, where they had the regular Seder, some was 18 hours a day. There's some even who slept less. So the big geniuses, most of them, they was intensive and extensive learning program in any yeshiva. And he says like this. He speaks about I'm following his approach of it. Shevet Levi, and how today Talmidei Chachamim, they really belong to Shevet Levi, best ones amongst them in any case. So he says by tzitzis, I've often wondered about this. I've said my own interpretation about Tzidek, but I'll give you his interpretation. Every day we say Pashat Tzitzis, but it repeats itself. What's the repetition? We say more or less the same thing. First we say, you should put tzitzis, I can find the result, but not tzitzis, I cannot be tzitzis. Well, this is the important point. The Torah result for all generations applies to the white tzitzis. In the scribe of tzitzis, it says separately. First it says to all the tzitzis, 4 tzitzis, white tzitzis. Then you should make tzitzis, one thread has to be tzechila. One thread has to be one of the white threads. So you say, what do the 2 threads represent? The 2 madregas. The white one represents the daily routine of life. In Ibn Derech Eretz, it's the way in which people live on the basis of natural needs, which is halakha. For the natural needs, you can't allow miracles. You've got to go and make sure you and your family got enough to eat, part of the Chasuv arrangement. Yeah? A person can't say, I'm not going to bother to provide for my wife. Hashem will provide for me. No, you signed on. In Torah, the wife will win. The husband's got to come up with the money. If you don't come up with the money, just give her a get. Find another husband. It's got to pay the Chasuv. So the person's got responsibilities. So the way of the Torah, that's the white. But he says, Tzil Techelet, which links you up with the throne of glory, the color. So it's the person who links up his life with the makor of everything, Hashem's word, to a strong extent. And then come 2 pasukim. The first pasuk says, the man was the chat. When you put in tzitzis, through that you remember all the mitzvahs. But it's all in the mitzvahs Hashem. It's all in the third person. But then it says, the man tizkuru, v'yisisem et kol mitzvusai. Then you remember, and just go back to your subconscious, go back to the Neshama inside. They're my mitzvahs, not the mitzvahs Hashem. Hashem is speaking to you, the person directly. That's the one who's got, as it were, he feels all the time, because Shavis Hashem this woman, he's connected with the blue thread to the Shekhinah, to Hashem, Kisah Kavod. Therefore, it's not to the first person, second person, but it's the Kol Mitzvah side. When the mitzvahs of Hashem become my mitzvahs, then you reach the stage of Kedusha. Kedusha. And Ani Hashem Elokechem, Ani Hashem. It's not, I'm your God. It's not the mitzvahs of Hashem. It's my mitzvah. I'm telling you. I took care of you afterwards to reach the highest level. So here we have the 2 levels in blue. That's one thing. I'll bring you another beautiful interpretation. The more of Kedusha, it also brings, Rabbi Meir says, the person's got to teach his son an umnos. The father must teach his son a profession, the kivukala. But now Roy says, at the end of Kiddushin, he said, Ani melamed es b'ni, I'm teaching my son only Torah. Because the Torah is source of all blessing. So, the Gemara says in Eruvin, Rabbi Meir had two names. Rabbi Meir, what's Meir mean?
Meir, to give light.
Give light. It says it gives the light of Torah to the wise. Meir enei chachamim, of Torah. That's Rabbi Meir. He says, Yod Meir, he gave a psak. Father will teach his son an umnas. Rabbi
What's an
Noroi,
umnas?
Trade.
what is Noroi means no hardly, light is unto me. His private name was Noroi. Noroi is make the horse light, leave for me. That means my son happens to be very brilliant. So my son, I'm going to teach him Torah. I want him to reach the highest level. So don't teach him any profession, nothing. But I know that he'll go reach the highest level. Or else the kasha. But now Roy is Rabbi Meir. He's contradicting himself. How can he pass for everybody else? You've got to teach the person. You teach his son a profession. Yes, I'm not teaching my son a profession. He's going to take notice of it. Then do yourself. What's the answer? What's the answer?
There are exceptions.
Yeah, exception. Exception. The person's very brilliant. Then you say, you forget about Ramos. Forget about taking matriculation or advanced degree. You'll find everything in Torah. Like we said that some people, in fact, they have an enormously high level of all areas of knowledge, but they never went to school. The Chazon Ish never went to school. Yashin never went to school. I don't think they went to school, but they did learn arithmetic. So this is another example of how two opinions divide. I really want to use this opportunity to congratulate that there are so many different aspects of this whole situation for someone who faced it for decades and has achieved a great deal. And so I want to wish him, that's what I'm putting it, Sean. I think it should be publicized what he's doing. And also it's important for you to know, some of you for yourselves, and some of you, it's Hashem, for how to raise the children. A specifically bright child, so that's what one could do. And it's clear that, there is, amongst Am Yisrael, they are born, even to families far removed from Torah, they are born children sometimes with exceptional talents at high ratio, guys by non-Jews as well, but a high ratio amongst other nations. For example, Einstein, it's a brilliant mind, he knows, and he worked on his theories with a person called Minkowski, who not known in public as elephantitis and very ugly, but was very brilliant. He admits that many of his theories he took more from this Minkowski. Of course, did not want to become publicized. He was a Talmud of Chaim Brisk. And some of you know Chaim Brisk's genius. And so we find this is going on all day. In fact, I read last week that the youngest person to be able to get into Cambridge, I think in mathematics, I think at the age of 9 or something, after all the exams, brilliant girl. Goes so high up in mathematics. She got the youngest mathematician of the highest level in the world. She became Bagas Shul. She knows the Meir Shalim, and she gives lectures at the university in mathematics. Tzich and everything. So, Jesus. And the world will benefit. Because what would happen, what's happened, unfortunately, some of the geniuses, they use for development of weapons, of arms. In fact, I'll end with this episode, which I think we in our yeshiva in the early days, we met a granddaughter who had just come out of Russia, granddaughter of Chofetz Chaim. And I think it was she, the way she described things. This is the story she told of Silver, which comes out of Silver in the yeshiva. And I was present also, which is good to Yiddish. So she said, yes, she also was going to visit her grandfather, but she was caught up by the communists and went to university. University she studied modern science, and she visited her grandfather, and she asked her grandfather, the world is changing these days with the enormous development of science and technology. It's a different world. You keep immersing yourself in these foods, spoiling, modern and so on. The world's different today. And I see a lot, I've gained on the larger world. So the Chofetz Chaim said to her, well, there's a lot of schochem, a lot of wisdom. But unfortunately, most of the wisdom of the world today is used to find out ways of destruction, destroy the human being. And what do we do? All our learning is to build up human beings to become mentioned, to become good virtues. That's all. As a source of advice and material. So, but still, in all things in life, one has to balance and know. Chofetz Chaim also advice like that. Most of the Gedolim will also advise like that. That each person's got to work out what is the best balance for himself. But today there's something, I think there's development taking place in the world which makes it easy and makes it all become reality to reach the level of Shibboleth. Because if technology increases, and why is Hashem with technology increase? So that we'll see the fulfillment that the Rambam says. In what time Mashiach, people will not bother anymore with learning things for their own sake. They want to know Hashem. That will grow. What knowledge of Hashem means? Knowledge how to do justice and kindness. That's real knowledge. That's it. I went a few times with the word in the book. Guide for the fantastic deep work. Part of it is connected with the dialogue and sometimes opposing view to Aristotle and so on. But the Rambam says the knowledge of Hashem, which is mentioned frequently in the Bible, knowledge of Hashem, he says, is philosophically speaking a negative knowledge. Because no human being can have knowledge of the essence of Hashem. We don't know the effect of Hashem's creation. And therefore all terms which are used in the Bible, there are many, to describe Hashem, all have to be interpreted in a negative fashion. And therefore the first book of Gemara goes all through the Bible, and many saying of the sages, to explain that all descriptions of Hashem are anthropomorphisms, and not to be taken literally. So what does knowledge of Hashem mean? At the end of the book, he brings the pasuk from Yirmiyahu, who says, what is the knowledge of Hashem? I am Hashem, who desires chesed, mishpat, tzedakah. I want loving kindness, justice, and charity in the world. That's what I desire. That's knowledge of Hashem. Knowledge of Hashem means how to put it to practice. That's why knowledge is the biggest tool for creating a fantastic world. Unfortunately, it can easily become knowledge can be the biggest tool for destruction. It's the professors that brought most cruel destruction of the human image to the world. We've got to make sure that our professors work in the opposite direction.
Amen.